the podcast, the reason I did this podcast is for people like yourself, right?
Sure.
People that got a lot to say, people that the world needs to hear from, but for whatever reason, there's something blocking them. I don't know if it's technology. I don't know if it's trying to be perfect. I don't know what, there's a book called Who Moved the Cheese? And in the book, at the end of the book, it asks a fantastic question. It says, what would you do if you weren't afraid? So, I mean, we have so many reasons. We have more reasons to do stuff than not to. So I made this podcast because I wanted brilliant individuals that I know in my life, like yourself, instead of nagging you about, doing a podcast and coming on air and all this other stuff. I said, let me build it and then just drag them on.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, Real Talk is about real people making real commitments, having real accountability, and getting real results. So the premise of the show is we get so caught up in our day-to-day lives that the urgent just consumes us.
No question.
And we don't stop and address what's most important to us. And if we don't address what's most important to us in life, it will become urgent.
No doubt.
Whether it be family, whether it be health, whether it be finances, that thing is going to become a fire itself eventually if we don't address it. And so everybody has something that's important to them right now. So I want to have some real talk around some of the things that are most important to you right now. And then, I'm a solution guy. If there's anything we can think of to help solve a problem, then let's do it, because I don't want this to be just talk. The goal is real talk. So D, I could talk about you all day, but I want you to tell anybody watching this podcast, one, how we met, and then two, about yourself.
Number one is easy. How we met, I was born into your shadows, quite frankly. You and Trayvon Potts, who you've had on Real Talk with yourself and with Trayvon and Craig Young.
Yeah.
And I knew him through you guys, met him. Mm-hmm. But quite frankly, I was thinking about it earlier. I am fortunate, quite frankly, to be born in the shadows of a guy that has done primarily what I wish to do, which is serve other people, and spend your whole life doing it. In preparing for this podcast, I was listening to you speak about why you do the podcast and some of the reasons why what brought you to this space and this medium. And quite frankly, they're all in accordance to the way that I live my life, or I try to live my life in terms of, God first.
Yeah.
And in my household, that's the number one goal, is to try, mm-hmm. And I'll preface that word try a lot. I'm going to say it a lot. But how we met in the church, our grandparents, I think, were at Metropolitan. Parents obviously grew up in that church, and then you and I grew up in that church, and you are, and I'll say it here, you are older than I am, a lot more seasoned than I.
Yeah, very true.
You have a lot more years than
I do
on this earth. But it's been fascinating. It's been everything you could think of and some. Watching yourself and watching Trayvon and even watching Craig from afar, and you guys grow in the Word and grow in God, and then your family, the lifestyle that you guys lead, the lifestyle that you guys choose. Just sitting back and watching it. So that's how we met in the church.
I really believe that God, He puts older individuals and younger individuals' lives deliberately because He wants us to live a certain way, but also He knows that younger individual, they can achieve, the probability of them achieving more is greater just mathematically. They're younger, right?
No question.
So, you're someone who, you've taken everything that your family's giving you and your community's giving you and your friendships have given you and God has given you, and you've exceeded expectations, period. You're a natural leader. You always have been. And something you said earlier about being committed. The thing that I love about you, about Trey, about Craig, about, all the men I consider brothers is the fact that we're not perfect and we don't get it right all the time, but we're committed to trying.
No question.
You said the word try. That's what kind of sparked it. But, that's the thing that to me has separated you from other men, is because you're committed to trying to do things the right way. And, the belief that I can, or why not me has always been something that's been in your spirit too.
Definitely.
And so, you're a leader of men. So that's why I wanted to get you on the show. And as far as who you are, go ahead and break that down for me.
Who I am, I'm a believer. First
Yeah.
and foremost, I definitely want to make sure that that's out there. The second part is currently I'm the head men's basketball coach at Cal State Fullerton. And it's kind of a coming home deal for me. I'm going on my 8th season. My sister went here, a bunch of my friends went here, but it's 35 minutes from my front porch. So I grew up in the summers as a young lad playing a lot of ball here Tuesdays and Thursday nights. But I've been all over the West Coast, from Loyola Marymount to Portland State to University of Nevada to Arizona State, to land back here at Cal State Fullerton. And my role and my job, yes, it says head coach, but I don't really pay attention to that. My job is to serve the young men that I'm fortunate enough to be able to be a part of their world and to be a part of their lives. And I try to teach them some of the things that I got wrong, some of the things that I got right. But most importantly, never, ever, ever, ever give up and never quit. Just continuing to move forward, no matter what the circumstances are, just moving forward. And that's something that I've learned from you and your walk and Trayvon's walk. Never give up. Just keep moving. And the other thing that I've learned is somebody's always watching. No matter what, if somebody is always watching, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but as I've gone through the medical field or the medical procedure that I had done, almost over a little over a month ago, I've kind of refocused myself. And I heard you say at 50, you're still learning different things. And at 46, I'm still learning different things, and it feels good to be able to be here today, not only on the show with you, but on the podcast with you, but realistically being here today, because I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be for so many reasons. I shouldn't be for the reasons of the surgery. The doctor could have messed up, easily could have slipped, and easily could have killed me. But I'm here, and I say that to say that I'm here with a purpose. And my purpose is to service the young men and the young ladies, for that matter, that I'm fortunate to be able to rub elbows with, to come in contact with, to coach on a day-to-day basis, so to speak. And that in a nutshell, that's me.
Let everybody out there know, what are the things that are most important to you right now? What's on your mind?
It's funny you say that, or you ask that question, and the answer that I have is quite frankly, love. That's what's on my mind. That's what's on my heart. Right. And that's coming from laying in a hospital bed by myself, because we're in a pandemic and we can't have family around, we can't have friends around. And as you mentioned, there's one consistent person that's been around, and that person is God. Yeah. And he put on my heart, just love. In today's time, in today's situation, in today's current events, if you will, love conquers all. It conquers hate. It conquers everything that we deal with. And I've chosen to, it's been placed on my heart, number one. And number two, I've chosen to accept it. But if I don't walk in love and I don't show love, or I should say, if I don't try, because I do it all the time, but if I don't try to show love and where it comes from and how it looks, who am I? For my daughter's sake, for the sake of the young guys that I'm in charge of, so to speak. If I don't show them what that looks like and what that example is, then it's all for naught. And so what's on my heart is to walk in love and to come from a space of love, even in spite of what we're dealing with the racial injustice. I've made a decision. If I am going to respond, I'm going to respond out of love. And that goes with, my social media. That goes, if somebody asks me a question about it, I'm going to respond in love. And then two, the second thing is just to do something. I'm a part of all these groups are spurring up across the country and asking me to be a part of it. But I want to be a part of leaving a legacy. And it does not start with me, and it won't end with me, and I probably won't see the result of some of the groups that I'm a part of. But if my kids and the generation that's in between myself and my kids, as long as they are reaping the benefits, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
I've done what I'm supposed to do, at least as far as I know. So those are the two spaces that I come from, and those are the two things that are on my mind and on my heart. And I appreciate this space because there are a lot of things that I want to do. But I ask myself every day, did I accomplish what I'm supposed to accomplish? Did I set out, or did I do what I set out to do? And I find myself asking that question every single day. Am I making a difference? And am I leading by example with my daughters, with the young men that I'm responsible for, with people that may be looking at me? Am I showing them that the love that God showed me, that Brad Williams showed me, that my parents showed me? My parents just celebrated 48 years together.
Yeah.
July 16th.
Yeah. It's amazing.
There's no greater example than that love that they've shown me. Now, I've never seen my parents argue in front of me. Doesn't mean that they don't do it. Because as I get older now, I start to understand and I hear it. But as a young lad, I never, ever, ever saw it. I saw them, disagree, but I never saw them raise their voice or do anything crazy like we're witnessing today. And I'm very fortunate. But pulling back the door and letting people see that does exist, that does take precedent in a God-driven home, and being able to understand what that means, and then do my part as far as showing or living by example. That's what I try to do.
Yeah, and that's very well said, D. I feel like people have a misconception of what love is.
Yeah.
I think that people think that it's a fairy tale type of thing, or you find the perfect situation or the perfect person and then everything's perfect. And it is almost the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Love it's not rational.
No question.
Where you have every reason, like you look at what we're going through right now. Well, even go backtrack and just start at the beginning with the Lord. Yeah. You look at what he has done for us, right? And you look at how he's got, sorry about that, I got insects back here. You look at how he's got the right. Wife left the door open, and all of a sudden,
that's love.
That's love, right? That's love. I love her anyway, just like she loves me through my mistakes.
No doubt.
But no, that's you look at how God loves us, and he loved us while we were still sinners.
No doubt.
He loved us while we were still in sin, and it didn't make any sense. And he died for a people that were still rebelling against him.
Yeah.
And it's just not rational. That's love. Marriage is not rational. Each individual is going to screw up. And each individual will have the right to step away from it, but that's not love. Loving a child is not rational. Right. That child can get put in prison. That's still your child. Yeah. That's still your baby, And so when it comes to people getting along in this day and age, you realize that a lot of people don't have a clue what love is. Yeah. Because we're so easily divided when it comes to things that we believe, when it comes to black versus blue, or when it comes to the Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. When it comes to, you got all these different things that are dividing us, and people can't stop and say, you know what, even though I don't agree, let me try to understand. No. And let me not hate you because you don't see things the way I do. And let me not make all these assumptions about you because you don't believe the way I believe. Let me give you the benefit of the doubt and listen and love and stay present and not let you go and hold on to you. Because the person you are now and the way you think right now may not be the way you think in a year from now, 5 years, 10 years. Yeah. And we're doing a really poor job of loving one another.
No question.
And I feel like you're spot on with that, focus of love, because leadership really is love. Yeah. You break down what 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter, you just replace the word love with lead. Mm-hmm. It's a leadership chapter.
No question.
When you look at the chapter, you read before it and after it, Apostle Paul is talking about leadership.
No question. No
He
question.
doesn't just all of a sudden change. He's talking about love because he's talking about leadership, and they go hand in hand.
No question.
So yeah, you're spot on with that, D. How do you see yourself? Because you've been someone who's always been focused on serving as opposed to being served, right?
No question.
As a leader, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that going forward?
You know, I think more than anything, I need to learn how to, number one, listen. And so I'm reading this book that was given to me or presented to me through a friend. His name is Leonard Perry. He's a coach as well. He's an assistant coach. He used to be he used to be a head coach, but he's at the University of the Pacific. And during this time, I'm just trying to listen. And listen takes on a different connotation, like one of very few classes that I paid attention to at UC Davis. But I did pay attention in this particular class and this particular concept. In order for communication to take place, there has to be a talker and a receiver and somebody communicating. And one person can only talk at one time. Mm-hmm. And once that person is talking, the receiver, the listener, has to listen with both ears. That's why we have 2 ears and one mouth. Yeah. Because we can listen with both and be quiet with this and listen not to respond, but listen to what the person is saying. And it goes back to you in terms of the first, the Corinthians chapter, in terms of love, like listening, showing the person that you are listening, showing the communicator that you are listening and that it's important to you to learn that. And so, or to learn what their perspective is, whatever it may be against yours, it may be with yours, whatever it is, at least you heard it. And you listen to it. And so I'm going to try and listen more with the ability to hear what's being said and then act accordingly. And so we're going to continue to move forward with the think tank at a later date, probably, hopefully, this time next year. Mm-hmm. But more than anything, just trying to continue to lead by example, continue to lead the way that we know how, which is listening to what other people like today. For instance, there's probably been 4 or 5 phone calls of people just wanting to be heard. And at the end of it, they also want some direction, but they want to be heard first. Yeah. So listening to that and listening to what their issue is. And no, I might not have the same issues. I may have had that 10 years ago. I may never have experienced it, but they want to be heard. And so listening from that perspective, but then also giving some type of direction is the lesson that I myself choose to learn from and moving forward. Listening.
That's good.
Leadership.
Yeah, no, that's ideal. And that's funny. You talk about listening, and most people don't realize how important that is in terms of you can't really love if you don't listen and understand. So yeah, I pulled up this document. I'm going to read this. It says, improving listening skills is the key component to engaging others and building trust. Mm-hmm. Trust is the first building block of every healthy organization. That comes from a book by Patrick Leoncini called The Advantage. Yeah. And I wrote down listening skills because, to your point, as a leader, you have to practice these skills. Yeah. So I'm going to read a few. It says, often listening skills, often a racing mind is to blame for not properly hearing someone when they speak. Yeah. Say that again. Yeah, often a racing mind is to blame for not properly hearing someone speak. How many times have you been guilty of that? I know for me.
All the time.
Yeah, you'll be looking dead at somebody and you're going. And they're just talking.
No doubt. And that's our generation. That's our downfall, if you will, is that we are racing. We're racing, trying to get to the next point, and it's only important to us, to you or to me, versus, hey, we're in a conversation with someone, so we should be listening. And it's so hard, because we have everything. We have these phones, and we have everything. News is right at your discretion. And so you can't help but to race. And one of the components of listening with a racing mind is slowing down. Mm-hmm. Slowing your mind down. Like, hear what that other person has said, and you would be amazed. You would be floored as to what you actually really hear. if you are able to slow down your mind to hear what the other person is saying.
Yeah.
You yourself would be amazed, let alone the other person. They feel like, dang, he heard me. Gosh darn it, maybe I should talk to him more.
Yeah.
And
isn't it crazy how people go, man, you're such a great conversationalist, and all you did was listen?
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. That is all.
No, so the second point, it says it's important to stay in the moment when listening to others, just like you mentioned. It says don't prepare your reply while the other person is still speaking.
No question.
Yeah. Now, how often are we guilty of that?
All the time. Again, I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about me. I'm looking at myself, talking to myself, and I'm saying, me, I'm guilty of that. You know, it's funny. A guy just texted me. His name is Lorenzo Romar. He's the head coach at Pepperdine University. But one thing he does on these Zoom calls, so we have a bunch of Zoom calls in the pandemic. We can only Zoom. We can't be able to. He is stoic. He doesn't even move. And last night we had a call, and I called him. I said, dude, how do you? Now, he's been around forever. He's a legend. Playground legend, a Division I legend, a professional legend, and he's building, and he is a legend in his own right, coaching. And I'm asking a question, like, how do you sit there and you don't say there's no facial expressions, whether he disagrees. I'm wondering if it's like, I'm seriously going to ask him, do you have your face pictured and you just put it up, or are you on the call? I know the answer to that, but that's what he looks like. And I only say that to say, like, we should listen more.
Yeah.
We should listen more and slow it down more. Everybody's in a race to get nothing. And that's our society. And it goes back full circle. How do I plan to lead, so to speak, in today's day and age? I plan to listen to our players.
Yeah.
I plan to listen to some of the information or most of the information that's out there, and now I can decipher what's right, what's wrong for my group, and act accordingly. But I do plan, to listen.
No, that's good stuff. And when you listen, it leads to you asking probing questions. And I love open-ended questions as well, because you can discover. People self-discover when you ask open-ended questions, and you can discover. But like I told my daughters when they were younger, before they started dating, if a dude asks you a question like, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" and you're like, "Titanic," and he don't ask any more probing questions, just moves on to the next thing, you got to check his agenda.
No doubt.
Because obviously he ain't say that to get to know you better. The next question should be, what about Titanic do you like so much?
Yeah.
And then you listen some more, and then you can ask more questions. And that's how a good conversation gets started, if you really care about the person that you're talking to. But too many times people will ask questions not with the intent to understand. They have something else in mind, another motive, another agenda. And so when you really do listen, trust really is, like, real trust is built. And we've talked about a healthy organization and how to build a healthy organization. And the primary foundation of any healthy organization is trust.
No doubt.
Once you build it on trust, then you can have what's called healthy conflict or real talk. Once you have real talk, that'll lead to real commitment. That leads to real accountability, and that leads to real results. That's the triangle, so to speak, for a healthy organization. The problem is we take that triangle and we flip it upside down to now your foundation is results.
No question.
And if you don't get results, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
And that's an unhealthy organization, an unhealthy team, an unhealthy relationship is results-based. But to your point, when you listen, when you lead with love and then build that foundation on trust, now you have something to work with. You have a potential dynasty.
No question.
Yeah.
And I can give you a real-time example with my own organization, Cal State Fullerton Men's Basketball, and it comes from you. Quite frankly, the book, Lead for God's Sake.
Yeah.
I was result-driven. Period. Like, I didn't care about nothing else other than the result, because that's what I thought I was being governed on. You know,
Right.
making a decision on whether or not I should keep my job or if I should get fired based on the results. And once I let the results go and I focused on our people, our players, so to speak, we've had 3 out of 4 winning seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I often look back and I remember that. Like, you gave it to me and you said it. Lead for God's sake. And that carried me through. And I read that book probably 5 times throughout the course of the year.
That's awesome.
And it has to do with, it's a God-driven book written by a believer, but it has to do with more than leading per se. You know, it's how you do it. That's been the true answer as to how we turned it around. You know, it starts from the top, bottom, from the top, and it goes all the way to the bottom. Like you said, we had that triangle turned upside down.
Yeah.
But we were able to flip it because of that book, because you believe, and because I believe, and because I knew it was in me. But it's just a matter of pulling it out the right way, and showing our guys how that looks, and showing our team. And because we've done that, they think we're a good coach, I guess.
No, well, you are, because it's everybody. A lot of people read that book, but they don't change their behavior.
No question.
You know, and so you have to be a certain type of individual to read it, comprehend it, and see the value in it. That book will be in the link if anybody wants to read it or pick it up. I highly recommend it in the description. One of my favorite questions in the book was when the coach asked his players, I believe, to define winning. And so how would you have defined winning in the past?
Just simply by results. Whether you win the game or you lose the game, at the end of every 40 minutes, there's a score. And you being on top defines you as the winner, or you being on the bottom defines you as a loser. And you didn't ask me this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I no longer look at the score throughout the course of our match. I don't look at the score. I don't worry about that. I know that if our guys are focused on what's important. Well, defensively, we have 3 concepts. Offensively, we have 3 concepts. And if they're focused on those things and they're executing those things, then I don't worry about the result. I know if they're executing those things, we'll be where we're supposed to. And sometimes that is losing, even when we've done all 6 of those things. Sometimes that's losing. Yeah. But we, in a way, we've still won.
Yeah, and you answered that question brilliantly, even though I asked the question wrong. I think the question in the book was, why do we play this game? I love the fact that the answer to that question was the reason why we play and the reason why we go out there and give our all is for the person next to us.
No doubt. Without question.
The person next to us. So why are you making that hustle play? Why are you taking that charge? Why are you focusing on like your man on defense so ferociously? Why are you sacrificing your body? You could become a professional player. You're sitting here sacrificing your body, at the college level. What if you hurt yourself? It's because the number one most important thing, the reason why we do what we do is for the person next to us.
Yep.
I want them to win. And what would the world be like if we took that mentality into work? We took that mentality into our everyday lives.
Yep.
That we're playing for the person next to us. Or I'm going to this job and I'm going to give my all because Dedrique has a family. Yep. And if I don't hold up my end of the deal, then this company might go under. And I don't want this company to go under. So I'm going to hold up my end of the deal and do my best work so Dedrique will have job security.
No question.
What if we took that mentality into the world? Like, what if that was real? That's what love is.
That's what it is. There it is right there. To do for somebody else what you would do for yourself.
Yeah. And we're not here to serve. We're here to be served. We're here to serve.
No question. And literally, I'm talking to my barber. I carry this message. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to get to it. But I carry this thing on my screensaver. And it says, it says strive for progress, not perfection.
Oh, so good. That's so
and that's
good.
from my barber. Like, dude, supposedly cuts my hair, and but those are the kind of conversations now as a grown man, like I'm having with the guy that cuts my hair, and that comes out of the conversation of, strive for progress. Are we better today than we were yesterday, and can we be better tomorrow than we are today?
That's so good. That's so good.
That's progress. That's not perfection. That's progress. And once I started to understand what that concept was, and it goes back to the book, but once I understood the progress concept, I started to focus on that, not the results, as you mentioned, focus on the progress, the process, so to speak. And it changed Cal State Fullerton men's basketball. And I could see it with our players, but it starts from the top, myself, and then it trickles down. So much so to where two guys that started here with us, they're on running their own program.
How do you find that focusing on results hurts you from leading, or hurts you as a leader?
Because it's almost, the best way I can define it is it's tunnel vision. I don't see the holistic approach. I only see whether we won or lost, or I'm only focused on the results. Whereas I take a step back and I don't focus on that. I focus on, John over there. Did he get better at his position? Did Danny get better doing what he does? And does Danny know that if he does what he does at the top of his game, then it helps John, and in turn it helps all of us. And then if we can get everybody on the same page, it helps everyone. And it's like you said, what if we did take that into our day-to-day lives? What if we took that into work? What if we did take that into whatever it is that we're doing? What if we took that mindset of, I'm not here necessarily for me, it's more for the other guy. And it's so funny, we don't learn that, or we don't understand that concept until we're seasoned. I won't say old. We're seasoned. It's funny watching the kids grow up. And when I say kids, I'm talking about 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old, the time that we have them, and then watch them become pros. And they come back and they practice with our guys and they work out with our guys. I don't have to say anything. The things that I'm teaching as an 18, as a 19, the 24-year-old understands. They know it now. And they come back at 24, 25, 20, and now all of a sudden they become your best coach. They become your best example. It's the same as in life. Like I look at our team when we first got here. One of our today's his birthday too, and today's my oldest daughter's birthday. But he works for the Atlanta Hawks now. And I guarantee you, if you ask him a question, it would almost, and you took the face off the question, the answer, it would almost be verbatim as to what we say, how we answer the question. But you think about it, dang, he's 26, 27 years old. I'm 46. I was trying to teach him that when he was 18, 19, and now he gets it. Now he understands. And so, it's funny how we go about that and how we do that. And, we spend our life trying to answer the same questions. We just share a different perspective.
I heard Bishop Kenneth C. Ulmer once say, knowledge is to know and wisdom is to do. And we have a lot of young people who at 18, 19, they know a lot of stuff, and they confuse that for wisdom. Google and the internet, people know there's a lot of knowledge out there, but what we still lack is wisdom. And what you're saying is those 24-year-olds are displaying wisdom. Not just knowledge. They're applying what it is that they know to be true. And a lot of it comes too from failure.
No doubt.
You have to fail a little bit. Not even a little bit, sometimes a lot.
A lot.
But failure is one of the key ingredients, is the key ingredient to success. And you said this earlier, failure and not giving up.
No
those two are the key. Because once you've failed, and me and my brother Christopher Ruffin, he would always say, Chris.
No, hey, you got to say it in New York verbatim too.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. Hold on. I got to do it. Yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but you got to fail forward. You got to fail forward. You want to win.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Nah.
Another thing Chris would say is his acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real.
Yep.
You can't be afraid to fail if you want to be a success in anything in life.
No doubt. And I think that's probably one of the things that is realist, and I said realist to me.
Yeah.
Is that everybody's excited about the ring and the trophy and I'm talking about what we experience. Like we experience going to the tournament. So we get a ring, we get we get the fly charter. Everybody is all excited about that part of it. But to me, the real growth was in the failure leading up to that.
Right. Yeah.
And the validation that if we do things the way we think is right, and the only way we get to right is that we fail.
Yeah.
We start to appreciate those moments. And I was appreciative. I was really, really, really appreciative of going to the tournament and so on and so forth. But I was appreciative probably for different reasons than anybody in our team or anybody that was wearing a Cal State Fullerton. I was appreciative for the failures. Because if it wasn't for the failures, if it wasn't for me coming home and I live by myself, but kicking my own furniture and being, watching the film and, if it wasn't for the failures, I wouldn't have the same appreciation and the same validation that I have now. And now it's about, can we do it again? Can we get it right? Can we do X, Y, and Z right? And then can we be consistent? And if we can do those things, who knows what could happen? But to me, the whole process is about the failure part of it, which there's so much you learn in failure. And I talked about that, but nobody really heard me.
Yeah.
But I talked about it. The proof's in the pudding in terms of failure. You got to fail, as Chris would say. You got to fail forward.
Yeah.
You can't fail backwards. And then from you failing, you can't give up on the fact that you failed. Learn from it, and then dust yourself off and move on.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the key. It's the mentality, right? You can even see it in the best, in just the winners in life. Period. Right? You can see it in sports. You can see it when Curry or LeBron, they're in that most intense moment of the game, fourth quarter, and you to a place where you as a person, you're sweating just watching. Right. Your heart is pounding. And you see him smile. Yeah. And then you see him blow it. Yeah. Right. And you see him get on camera and do the interviews, and you see him like it's almost like they're waterproof or they're bulletproof. You see it just kind of roll off of him. You're going, I would be like underneath a house right now. No doubt. Like I would bury myself right now. But they're winners. Winners don't do that. Nope. They don't think like that. Brett Favre is one of my favorite quarterbacks. And he's one of my favorites because he's thrown more interceptions than almost he has touchdown passes. No doubt. But that guy, like the way he is here, you couldn't break him. You couldn't break him. And because you couldn't break him, he's got the victories that he has. You look at leadership. One thing I love about leadership, I think they should teach leadership in school. Like I know now they have some courses maybe, but I'm talking high school, I'm talking junior high, leadership competencies. No doubt. Right? That's another conversation though. But leadership competencies need to be taught because it's a real gift. No doubt. And I've seen men and women who are gifted as leaders fail in the public eye, and the way they handled it, and the way they came back from it, and the way they rebuilt and created, it's something to see. It's something to see. And the people that get it, like going back to love, like you were saying, leadership and love, they're the same thing. No doubt. So you can't have either one of them without failure or without challenges. Yeah. You don't love somebody. You don't know if you love somebody until they fail you or you fail them.
No question.
You don't know yet.
No doubt.
You know, and same thing when it comes to business, same thing when it comes to coaching and leadership on many levels. You don't know if you love that team, love that program, and they love you until you fail together.
No doubt. And I'll use this example since I'm a coach, but you realize, let's take LeBron, for example, since he plays for the world champion Lakers. You know, world champion.
Greatest franchise ever. Yes.
Without question.
Yes, without question.
He plays the game for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And just
yes.
I had to explain this to my team and 2 or 3 guys in particular as we were working out. Like, you realize LeBron James, as good as he is, if he shoots over, like, he misses half of his shots, and he's still considered good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Arguably, one of the greatest.
Like a guy that, like, let's talk about Kerr. You brought it up, Steve Kerr. He shoots over 35% from 3. Yeah. And people are like, oh my God, he can really, really shoot. But he misses 7 out of every 10 shots. Right. He only makes 3.5, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And we think he's one of the greatest shooters that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's missed half of his shots, or more than half.
More than half.
My point is, they don't. What brings them back to the batter's box, to shooting the ball? It's not the percentages. It's the love of the game.
That's right. That's right.
Doing for everybody else and for other people, and trying to get our guys to understand that it's one of the hardest things to do. But when they do get it, oh my gosh,
that's wisdom.
Yeah.
When that wisdom kicks in, I heard, and people need to. We could do a whole nother show on this, but it's really about what do you love, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing that you love is the thing that you have failed at the most, but you keep coming back to. I heard Dave Chappelle talk about comedy. Because, you know, you hear that guy talk about comedy, you know he loves the art.
No doubt.
He loves the art.
No doubt.
And because he loves the art, he can appreciate other comedians. Whether he agrees with their material or not, he appreciates the art. And it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in sports. People ask me about different presidents and different leaders because I like to study leaders.
Yeah.
And irregardless of whether I agree with most leaders or not, I can get something from every leader in terms of the art of leadership.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, like I just picked something up from that guy. That was brilliant how he did that, or how he handled that as a leader. Yeah. You know, same thing in sports. If you love the game, then you're not going to leave it.
No doubt.
You're not going to give up on it. No For doubt. You as a leader, if you love coaching and you love the game, it's what you do.
No question.
You look at guys who box. You couldn't pay me enough money in the world to get hit in the face.
In the face. How about right here, like the
ribs or a kidney shot?
Man, listen here. I quit.
That's a bad day. You talking to me? I'm just training. You're not getting a check yet. You're just going to practice. You're sparring.
Yeah.
You're not making no money. Most of them don't make any money hardly.
Yeah.
You know, but they have a love for what they do, and that love because they know why they're on this planet. They know they're here to fight. They're a warrior.
No question.
And if that's your lot in life, it's your lot in life. Don't fight it. Embrace it. Instead of running away from it, run towards it.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people, and I shouldn't say a lot of people, but I'm going to say a lot of people, they do exactly what you just said. They run away from it. Yeah. They don't realize the blessing that's just on the other side of what appears to be hard. Yeah. What they think is hard. They don't break through. They quit. Mm-hmm. They don't get a chance to realize, dang, the blessing is just on the other side of this, you know, what's hard, what seems hard. And it's a lot easier said than done. Mm-hmm. No question.
Oh, you're right about that. You're right. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. It is extremely difficult. It's not rational. No it makes no sense. When most people quit, they have every reason why. They have tons of justifiable reasons why.
Yeah.
That's not the question.
Yeah. Yep.
You can justify it all day long. No, do you love it? Is it your why? Is it the reason you exist? Are you walking away from your passion, your calling? You know, are you being a coward? Are you giving up?
No question.
Are you going to fight? You know, and that's what we need to see more of today when it comes to the social unrest and the civic unrest. Are people going to walk away from the uncomfortable conversations?
Yeah.
Are they going to stand up for what we believe in as Americans?
Yep.
Are we going to fight for this thing that God's blessed us with?
Yep.
Are we going to fight for it? Are we going to just walk away from it and find every reason why we can justify walking away and focus on all the negative and this sucks and that sucks? Yeah, there's bad everywhere. Let's fix it. Let's listen. Let's sit down together and listen together and figure out how all of our kids can make it home safely if they get pulled over.
No question.
You know, let's figure it out together. Let's love. I know you don't want to talk about it. You don't understand it. But let's sit down. Let's have a conversation because we love and care about one another.
No doubt.
And I want to hear what concerns you. You listen to what concerns me, and I'm going to help you resolve some of your stuff. You help me resolve some of my stuff, because that's what this is really all about.
Yeah.
And people are missing it.
No question.
They're missing it.
No question. You know, it's crazy that you mentioned some of these words, but I'm going to highlight some of them in terms of like together. You listen, I speak, and vice versa. And together we can help each other.
That's right.
I can't do it by myself. I have to have you or whoever is in the room. I have to have that person to be successful in my version.
Yeah.
And that's something that we don't do. We don't stick together. You know, we don't have that commitment. And you can go on. And they're the same words that our grandparents used to use. It's the same, just going about it differently.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to challenge you on this because I love you. So I'm going to challenge you.
Please do.
My little brother.
Please do.
One of the reasons why I feel like we are not making the progress that we could be making just as a nation is because of great leaders like yourself not being out in the forefront.
Yeah.
I think more individuals that think like you think, we have a lot more of those type of individuals on the sideline than we do in the arena, in the game.
No question.
You know, because of whatever the reason. I can't even, there's plenty of reasons to name. You know, you could justify them all day. You know, you have tried. But I know you have a book coming soon.
Yeah, I do.
I know you're going to be doing more of this.
Yeah.
I know Think Tank is something I'm extremely proud of you of, because actually you starting that kind of makes everything I just said about you almost a moot point, because you had the courage to start something that brings people together to think about how we can help the next assistant or the next great leader become greater.
No question.
And to me, I mean, it's you building that's mind blowing, and I'm looking forward to talking more about that in the future.
Sure.
But for you to do more things like that, like you have Think Tank, you have a book coming, but God's requiring more of you, obviously. Yeah. You're here and still here for a reason, a bigger reason than just Dedrique Taylor.
No question.
You're someone who's here to change this world. You're a world changer. Yeah. And so as your brother, I'm not going to stop challenging you to do what God has put you here to do, because just hearing you talk, man, at your young age, it gives me hope. You know? Yeah. You jump on social media right now, you listen to people talk, you hear all this stuff, and you see the stuff on the news, forgetting that the news, you know, everything you're getting has an agenda.
No question.
But you lose hope.
No question.
And then talking to people like yourself, you get that hope back. And all I'm saying is we need more of this.
No doubt.
You know, we need more of this, and more people understanding what real leadership is, more people understanding that loving and leading and winning has to do with you working for the person next to you.
No question.
How much you love them. If you truly love them, you're not going to be lazy as a player. Or you're not going to be lazy as a business partner. You're not going to be lazy as an employee. You're not going to be lazy as a member of society, because you're working, you're fighting for the person next to you.
No question.
You know, I don't like ambition, and I don't like ambitious people.
Yeah.
Because to me, ambition, it has a selfish connotation.
No question.
But I love passion.
Yeah.
I love passionate people. Yeah. And passionate people, that's more about we and us. you know, having a passionate team and a passionate organization, because you want all of us to win. You know, and so we're just, I'm once again, D, I am proud of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing the things that you've already done more than most in their lifetime, in your young life. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you're doing going forward.
No question. No question.
Anything you working on, or besides the stuff, or you can add to what I mentioned, but anything you working on or doing that you want people to know about?
Yeah, I guess, you know, the think tank, I'm working on growing it. But before I answer that question, I want to go back and answer to your challenge. If you can't, it's the words of Pastor Frank J. Hardy, who we both grew up under.
That's right.
He said this. He said, if you can't say out or you can't say amen, say out.
That's right.
Ouch, ouch, and ouch. The message was heard.
All right. And don't have me, because I have a platform now, so I'll say it again.
Yeah. You know, what I have working on, or what I am working on, is just trying to grow the think tank. And you know, everybody's asking me, am I going to do the Zoom part of it? And am I going to make it a Zoom? And it's not really a Zoom deal. It's more of an in-person deal. So when we can get back in person, if we can, hopefully soon, it will be that. I am, as you mentioned, writing a book, but there's a lot of books inside of me. I think this book is being written by another guy who is kind of looking at my life and as a young man, and you know, a young kid growing into, you know, the head coach, and some of the things that I've learned. I think that's his perspective. But there are more books, I feel like, and I only feel like this when I'm around you, but I feel like there are more books from a different perspective inside of me. And so I want to get that out. I want to get that out. And I think you said it, so that my daughters understand that their dad was more than a coach. You know, that I tried to do X, Y, and Z. If nothing else, it's for my kids. It's that so that they understand that, and you know, and hope that that other people can grasp or can understand some of the concepts that I've illuminated here, and that we've illuminated here. Even speaking on the passion versus ambition. You know, the two different meanings. I mean, and as we sit here, there's multiple guys texting me, asking me this and that. And so there are more things to come. And like you, as you said, just go to I should tell them, hey, just go to my YouTube and you'll get the answer to the question that you're just asking me.
Or my website.
There's something for me that is in the people, the person. Like, you know, it's just, I get off on the fact that this guy from way on the East Coast is reaching out to me. Wow. Like that, to me, that there's something that says that, and my response to that is not, hey, go YouTube it or go YouTube me. You know, my response is, hey, I'm gonna get on the phone and answer whatever questions. Now, I answer the same question probably 20 times a day, which is your point. But yeah, I do have some things coming in the works, and I'm looking forward to them. But more importantly, I'm looking forward to illuminating some of the things that we have spoken about here, which is togetherness, which is not quitting, which is understanding and walking in your purpose through the coach in me, so to speak, serving other people. At the end of the day, that's what I'm about. You know, that I'm serving other people and understanding what that means, and going about it day in and day out, and not only talking the talk, but walking the walk and doing more than I am saying.
Yeah.
And that's been my biggest response to all of these people, the different organizations that are popping up, and the social injustice, you know, that is creating this group and that group and this group and that group. And the first question I have, which happens to be the last question I have, is, what are we doing? Are we doing something to help everyone? That's the biggest question. We can say what we want to say, but are we doing something? And I feel like something was done for me through you, through our parents. And it's incumbent upon me to do something for the generation that is behind me, not just talk about it, but be about it, so to speak.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. And so for those of you guys listening, you've gotten a chance to sit in on a typical conversation for Dedrique and I. Seems like every time we talk, this is like I glean a lot from it and grow from it. I call myself trying to help him, and he blesses me. As far as the future goes, I appreciate the fact that you're taking them phone calls.
Yeah.
I do. But there's some people that don't have your number that still should get this.
Yeah, you say that all the time.
So, so the website's coming too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Taylor.com. I'm gonna work on that. And that's something that I've committed to doing, and I need to get to work on it. I need to do it.
Yeah, because you were talking about not just skill training. It's not just leadership stuff, but skill training too.
Yeah. And I wonder if that has passed me by, because I look on this Instagram and I see, all these guys doing this crazy stuff, and I wonder, am I supposed to be walking in that lane? Whereas like the think tank, that stuff is easy to me.
Right.
Close my eyes and do it with my eyes closed, and that comes easy. And so the next part for me is accepting the challenge. What's hard out there? Yeah. What is hard? Whether it be the skills training, which again, it's still, it goes back to the basics, the concepts. Everybody's stepping back. But why are you stepping back? Why? James Harden steps back. He travels, by the way, but he steps back to create space.
That's your boy, man.
Yeah, that is my guy. And I tell him that every time, all the time when I see him. You travel, you know that. Like, there's without question.
Yeah, no, I know he knows because we know.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah.
And when he roots for him, when he comes to LA, I root for him to play well, but I want the Lakers to win.
Absolutely.
And he understands that.
Yeah, because you're a wise man.
No doubt. And he understands that. But
as he should.
The skills training, I would go back to, why are you stepping back? Don't step back if you don't need to. Like, James doesn't work on that stuff. He works on the basic fundamentals, the concepts of the game, and those things that you see, the step back, and so those are a derivative of the work that he's put in.
Right.
So
that's a great point.
There is a lot of stuff in me, but I'm going to try to mainstream it and be focused on one or two or three things while I'm young.
That's right. And just like you were saying, whatever you do, you doing it, you're going to have your spin on it, your flavor, So your skills training and how you do things, it'll be how you do things. It won't be what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, no question. No question.
So, all right. So everybody, please keep an eye on Dedrique and everything he's doing, his team, his school. Keep an eye open for the book. I'm sure when that book comes out, I'll have you back on, so we'll talk about that. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching Real Talk with Brad Williams, Real Talk with Dedrique Taylor and Brad Williams. And like I say, have a great day. Have a great evening. If you can't have one, create one.
There you go. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my brother.